There really seems to be never a dull moment at Queen's Park these days. Provincial politics, it seems to be on the front burner, and this week certainly is no different. Housing, Ontario Place, school board budgets, they're all dominating headlines. Joining us in studio today to talk about some of these significant issues is Ontario Green Party leader Mike Schreiner. Thanks for being with us today.
Hey, pleasure to join you, and liking the new studio. It looks great.
Thank you. You got to check it out firsthand.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to have you here. We want to start with Ontario Place. The advocacy group Ontario Place for All, they're releasing details of an audit today on the mega spa plan for the site. I'm wondering what you might be learning about some of these numbers they're sharing.
Well, I was pleased to host Ontario Place for All at Queen's Park today in the media studio when they released their audit numbers. And what it's really showing is the provincial government of Doug Ford is not being honest and transparent with the people of Ontario about what the business case is for selling off or leasing off public land to this, mega spa, an Austrian-based company. And so if the government's not going to be honest with the people of Ontario, then the citizens of Ontario, through Ontario Place for All, is going to release those numbers. And it's really showing that this is a bad deal for the people of Ontario.
Is there anything specific you would like to see in the business plan that would give you a better idea of how decisions are being made?
Well, some transparency around how do you have a 95-year lease for an Austrian-based mega spa when do we even have that much demand for spa services in downtown Toronto? But more importantly, the public land that is Ontario Place should be used for the public, accessible to the public, not people who are going to be going to a high-priced mega spa.
I wonder what's next for your push against this project.
Well, I think getting these numbers out is the next step in pushing the Ford government just to say, be honest and transparent with the people of Ontario. How much money is this costing taxpayers? Why are we spending millions of dollars to build a parking garage for a foreign-owned mega spa?
I want to get to education. The government has shut down an idea from the Toronto District School Board to sell off aging schools to help balance its budget. I wonder what other options might exist for the TDSB to kind of to add more money into their coffers.
I think it's fiscally irresponsible of the government and quite hypocritical, frankly, for the minister to say to Toronto School Board, find savings. And then when they find some savings, then the minister says, oh no, you can't use those savings by consolidating some schools and making sure they operate more efficiently. So, my response to the government is, first of all, properly fund schools. I mean, the repair backlog in our public schools right now is over $16 billion across the province. We have a third of secondary schools across the province facing teacher shortages. That directly impacts negatively the quality of education that we deliver in the province. So properly fund education and respect the local decision-making the school boards make.
Finally, we saw some unity at Queen's Park today. Yeah. There was a standing ovation, and that's when it comes to a private member's bill about intimate partner violence, declaring it an epidemic. What was it like to be in Queen's Park for that moment, and what does this issue mean to you, mean to the Green Party?
Yeah, I think it's an important moment. We want to see all parties come together and declare intimate partner violence an epidemic. It is. We need to direct resources to supporting survivors. And one of the things that I think this connects to is the housing crisis. And this is something we've been talking about as Ontario Greens. We need to make sure we invest in nonprofit co-op, deeply affordable housing supply so that women facing intimate partner violence have a home to go to. One of the things that's preventing people from leaving a violent situation is they have no place to go.
Yeah,
and so we need to make sure we provide that.
Right now.
Exactly.
And that's interesting, too, that when we talk about issues like housing, that it really does, lend itself to other areas where people need help and support, especially with women like this.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many shelters are saying, we're full, and women who are ready to, maybe move into an apartment, be in assisted living type space. Those spaces aren't available, and if they are available, they're not affordable. That's why we've been pushing so hard for the government to, one, legalize housing, like fourplexes and four-story buildings. We can quickly increase supply that people can afford in the communities they know and love. and also to invest in deeply affordable nonprofit and co-op housing so that we can build homes that people can afford in the communities they know and love.
You know, the topic of fourplex is a real hot button issue right now. Of course, the Ford government saying, no, we don't want that. Why do you think that, I'm assuming that fourplexes are something that you think we should bring on board?
Well, I don't understand why the premier is saying no to legalizing housing when we're in a housing crisis.
Right.
Fourplexes are the way that we can quickly and cheaply increase housing supply so that people can have homes they can afford close to where they work, spend time with their family, the communities they want to live in. And for the premier to say no to that, to me, is just outrageous when we're in a housing crisis. Instead, what the premier's been doing is saying, hey, let's open the Greenbelt for development so, you know, wealthy, well-connected insiders can cash in billions while we're not building homes that people can afford. Luckily, the premier's backtracked on that, but he hasn't delivered on the housing the province needs.
Of course, we're going to hear more from the Ford government today when it comes to housing. Green Party leader Mike Schreiner, thanks so much for being here for us today.
My pleasure.